Has Kamala Harris only recently identified herself as a Black person? That's what Donald Trump claimed during an interview with the National Association of Black Journalists. Welcome to Newspeak, I'm Kellum. So you probably saw the headlines about Trump questioning the identity of Vice President and Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris and whether she only recently has been calling herself Black. Take a listen.
I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
She is always identified as a Black woman. She went to a historically Black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't.
So I hate to say this, but this is not an easy claim to fact check. First, Trump didn't say when exactly she supposedly started identifying herself as Black, which means the only way to verify this claim is to see whether she identified herself at some point as only Asian. The other variable is how publicly she identified herself this way. It's one thing to call yourself Asian or Black to your friends, which is harder to verify because those were likely private conversations. And it's another thing to identify yourself as something publicly, which is what we're going to try to fact check today. So first of all, Harris is both Black and Asian. Her mother comes from India and her father from Jamaica. They reportedly met at a Black student study group called the Afro-American Association at UC Berkeley in 1962. They got married just a year later. However, after 9 years of marriage, they got divorced. Kamala, who was just 8 at the time, and her 5-year-old sister Maya were raised in California by her mother. Now, I mention that because growing up with an Indian mother could have influenced her views on her identity. But Harris wrote in her 2019 memoir that my mother understood very well that she was raising 2 Black daughters. She knew that her adopted homeland would see Maya and me as Black girls, and she was determined to make sure we would grow into confident, proud Black women. Okay, so from 2019 onwards at least, she seems to be identifying herself publicly as Black. On her campaign website for the US Senate in 2016, she identifies herself as the first woman, the first African American, and the first South Asian Indian to hold the office of California Attorney General. Now, going back to 2005, when she was the San Francisco District Attorney, the About Us section of the DA's website calls her the first African-American woman in California to hold the office. However, when describing her heritage, it called her only the daughter of an Indian mother. In her first speech as DA in 2004, she likewise makes a point of acknowledging her mother but makes no mention of her dad. Now, that doesn't mean she necessarily identifies with her mother's race more than her dad's. I think it probably speaks more to her close relationship with her mom and maybe a more distant relationship with her father. But I bring this up because this could give the impression that she identifies more with her mother than her father. Now, most fact checks I looked at use as evidence her time at Howard University, a historically Black college, as evidence that she identifies as Black. But while Howard University says the university traditionally has had the largest gathering of Black scholars in the world, you don't have to be Black to attend the school. In fact, according to government data, in 2022, only about 66% of the student population was Black. Was that part of her motivation for going there? It very well could be. The Washington Post wrote in 2019 that Harris wanted to go to a Black school. That's what Black folks called Howard University in the early 1980s when Harris was a teenager considering her future. While there, she reportedly joined the sorority Alpha Kappa Alpha, the country's oldest Black sorority. Alpha Kappa Alpha, or AKA as it's called, says on its website that it is America's premier Greek letter organization for African American women. Now, that sorority is not to be confused with the historically Black sorority Zeta Pi Beta in Indiana, whose meeting she attended instead of attending Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's joint address to Congress in July. That sorority was founded by her alma mater, Howard University, but she was not a member of it. So, going back to Trump's claim that she only recently identified herself as Black, I would say that it's possible, but I don't see much evidence for it. Now, even before the NABJ interview, Trump posted on Truth Social these headlines showing Harris being called Indian American in an AP headline in 2016 and Black in another AP headline in 2020. The point of the 2016 AP headline was that she was the first Indian American U.S. Senator. That's because she would not be the first Black U.S. Senator. Here are all the U.S. Senators who came before her who were also Black. Why the AP only focused on her being Black in the 2020 headline, I guess was a judgment call. Maybe the AP saw her as more Black than Asian. I don't know. I'll let you speculate. Now, I have a question for you guys. I was talking with a family member recently, and they said that they always saw Harris as Asian. They actually didn't realize that she was Black till they saw the headlines about her. I'm curious if this is how you perceive her, or did you, like me, see her as Black and only learn about her Asian background later? Let me know in the comments below, and if you found this fact check useful, please share it on social media, hit that like button, feed a comment to the algorithm, and subscribe to the channel. Once again, I'm Kellum, and you're watching Newspeak.